Hey there! I'm finally back with another longer video for you, and this time I share how I make my own planner inserts by using Procreate. Let's get started! But first of all, Happy New Year to you all. I hope you had a very good start and I wish you all the best. And foremost, I wish you all best health, of course. So the first thing I do is search for good notes and then opening up a new document. This could be, for example, a quick note or a notebook. And then I check the settings, for example, if it's .grid and A5 sized, and here you can make adjustments as you like. By the way, more settings can be found with the three dots on the top right corner. When I'm happy with my settings, I click Share and Export, which is the fifth icon on the top left corner. Next I choose Select this page, then export it as a picture and rename it if necessary. Now I leave good notes, open up Procreate and then import my picture. On another layer, I start counting out the squares horizontally and vertically. After that's done, I go to my gallery, then duplicate the template and drag them together to create a stack. And now I can rename the stack if I like. So in my case, I named my stack Planner Templates, of course, and then I went into my stack and opened up one of my templates. Now I make another layer to add my markings for my different sections later. So at first I will be making a yearly overview, which basically means I need to create 12 sections onto this page for each month of the year. Therefore, I'm dividing the horizontal line by 3 and the vertical line by 4 because 3 by 4 equals 12. Any left residue I will be putting on top because I use the space to add my headers later on. And now you can see me drawing the lines onto different layers to create my sections. Now I go into my tools and open up a new text field. This one I will be using to create my header, for example, yearly overview, year at a glance, or 2023. By opening up my font settings, I can adjust anything for the font, for example, the font size, font style, and even the font spacing. And here's a little tip for you. If you are distracted like me from the lines, you can adjust the transparency of the different layers and make them not so bright. Now I add another layer, select my monoline brush and adjust the size of it. Now you can use this brush or any other brush to create lettered headers. You can use this method to create some of your headers or all of them. I use this template to try something out with it and just give you some inspiration for your own planner inserts. Another way to add the headers is by using a text field like I showed you before, and this is what I'm doing for the leftover ones here. By the way, keep the same settings for each text field layer by duplicating the first one and then only readjusting the placement and changing up the letters and words. To add the days of the week, I open up a new text field, add the letter for the day, duplicating it, changing it up for the next day of the week until I have all days of the week. For a better placement, even in between the dot grids, you can turn on drawing help and adjusting it. I found that the drawing help is most useful for me with a length of 20. After I completed all text fields for the days of the week, I drag them together to create a new group. That makes it easier to duplicate and to readjust if needed. Because now I can use this to my advantage by duplicating the group for each month of the year, and that way I save a lot of time. The only thing that's left to do in between each copy and pasting process is to readjust my new group layer in terms of placement. For an even faster result, I can group groups together to get more months covered in a shorter amount of time. Similar to the days of the week headers, I repeat this process for the days of the month. So I create a new text field, add in my number, copy, paste, readjust and rename. I repeat this process until I have a line completed, and then I group all numbers of the line together. To create the second line, I copy and paste the first line, then I readjust it and rename all the numbers. When I have done this for all the days of the month, I can group all the lines together. That makes it easier to create the next month, because that way I can just copy and paste the whole group and rename all the numbers as needed. By the way, here's a tip for you. You can rename all of the groups to make it easier for you to find and keep track on which group is which one. Now that I've done the first month, I group everything together as I said before and copy, paste and readjust for the second one. To make it a little bit easier for me, I copy and pasted only all of the lines which had Monday till Sunday completed with numbers. And the reason for that is typically each month starts with another day of the week. In many cases, the month starts in the week and ends in the week as well. And to cover these dates as well, I copy, paste and readjust the first and the last line. That way I have created kind of a template to use for all of the month of the year. I can copy, paste and readjust this group as I like, and I can change all the numbers in the group as needed. When I don't need a number, I only delete the number in the text field but not the whole text field, and that way I can change it up later if I need to. After repeating this whole process for all of the month, you might end up with something like that, which is my year at a glance or my yearly overview. Now we are done with the difficult template and we can move on to the next one, which is the vertical weekly. Like the first one, I duplicate my pre-made template and then open it up. Next, I created a new layer and choose a popping color. Because this template is going to have 8 vertical sections in total on 2 sides, I divide the horizontal line into 4. The vertical columns I will be using for notes and for all the days of the week. To get my writing space more organized and make more sections, I decided to divide the vertical space as well. In my case, I divided this space by 3, but you can also divide it by 4 or even more or less, depending on how you want to structure the days. For example, you can use the space for some notes, for a schedule, or for household tasks. After dividing, I make markings for where I want to place my lines later. And after creating separate layers, I start drawing them with my monoline brush. And like before, I placed my residue on top, so this will be the space to add my headers later. When I am done, I'm changing the color of the lines into a gray shade. Therefore, I alpha lock the layers, choose a gray shade and then fill them in. When I'm done with that, I add a text field. These can be used to, for example, name all of the sections. In my case, I wanted to remain flexible, so I only added this week. And of course, the days of the week. Anything else I will be later adding in with handwriting and only as needed. After that, I'm done with the vertical weekly layout, which is undated. To turn it into a dated one, just add the dates to the days of the week or add another text field where you can insert them. By the way, this is just an inspiration, so keep in mind you can change up everything you like. When I have reached Wednesday, I go to my gallery, duplicate the document and open one of them. To create a uniform header look, I delete the text field with this week. Then I duplicate and readjust one of the text fields for the days of the week. And finally use the text fields to add in all of the missing days of the week. Finished! And this is how my vertical weekly looks like. Next, I move on to my monthly inserts. Again, I start with duplicating my .grid template and open it up. Next, I create a new layer and choose a popping color, and this time I start by counting from the right side to the left side my horizontal squares. This will be a great help for placing my boxes for the calendar because I want to have them centered. My calendar will be on 2 pages, but you can also make your adjustments so that it fits on one side. Or you can place them more to the left or more to the right. When you don't want to have your hole punches into your boxes later on, you maybe have to put your boxes more on the left side. For me, this was no problem, so I placed mine more to the right side. So I wanted to create 5x5 boxes, so I divided my number of horizontal squares by 5. And I repeated the same process for the number of vertical squares as well, except that I left the first 3 vertical lines blank because this will be additional space to add headers, notes, trackers or something like that. Then I move on and add on different layers my lines along the markings. Sometimes I group them together, copy, paste and adjust them to save some time. After I'm done with the vertical lines, I do the same thing for the horizontal ones. Next, I turn off the layers with all the counted squares and combine all layers with lines into one. Now you already have a perfect calendar template for an undated month. You can customize it however you like, so for example, turn it into a dated one or add a header for the month. To create the second side, I go back to my gallery and duplicate the exact same template. If I haven't done this before, I combine all lines into one layer. Next, I select this layer and move the squares to the left side. I make sure to stay in the same height, so only moving from right to left. So in terms of columns, we only need 7 columns in total for each day of the week, so I erase any excess columns. By the way, don't copy my mistake, I erased too much and missed one column in the end. In the end, Friday was missing and I fixed this mistake later off cam. After erasing, you can add text fields for headers, such as for the days of the week. Finally, I go into detail and even erase boxes if they are too much. If you have to add a box, you can draw a new box or you can select the area with one box, copy, paste and readjust it. I really enjoy having pre-made and pre-dated monthly calendar inserts for my planner because it saves me a lot of time and I don't have to worry about straight lines. But I also like to have a lot of freedom when it comes to decoration and customizing each month. And because I couldn't find anything suitable to my needs, I just made my own ones. And here's how they look like. Now it's finally time for the last template we are making together, and this is the horizontal weekly. As always, duplicate the dot grid template and open it up. For me, I decided to create 8 sections on 2 pages. So I divide my number of vertical squares by 4. That way I will have 4 sections on 1 page. As always, I put my residue on top, make some markings and then draw on separate layers my lines. For the first marking, I leave out the line because this will be the space for my weekly overview. Like I did with the vertical weekly, I decided to color my lines in gray. Next, I add headers for the different sections, and the first one will be a little bit larger because this will be for my weekly overview. I also add text fields for the different days of the week, copy and paste them to keep my settings. To create the second side, I copy and paste my template and then open it up. For the first marking, I draw in a new line because I create space for another day. The header can be used to add the dates or the number of the week. And then I move the text fields to the right and change the days of the week. And there you have it, these are my horizontal weekly templates. To print the templates, go to Gallery, select them and choose PDF. Then select Print, choose your settings and export them to your printer. Now you should be able to print your templates as well. Finally, I got some more inspiration for you what you can create for planner inserts. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below and thanks for watching. Bye!